The blood coin, a chilling concept that echoes through the ages. Wealth built on sacrifice and exploitation, a foundation upon which many societies have been erected, often at a terrible cost. This dark legacy has shaped civilization from its earliest days, influencing our social structures and economic systems in profound ways. In ancient Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization, Sumerian priest kings like Gilgamesh, figures of legend and power, ruled with divine authority, their power absolute and unquestioned, extracting resources from the masses, demanding tribute and labor to fuel their grand projects and maintain their opulent lifestyles. They sanctified their power through elaborate ritual, reinforcing their legitimacy, resorting to the ultimate display of dominance, human sacrifice of truth and love. This model of power and control spread to Egypt, with its pharaohs and pyramids, to the Mayans, with their complex calendar and towering temples. All used grand narratives and ritual, carefully constructed and meticulously performed, to justify inequality and maintain control over their populations, solidifying their place at the top of the social hierarchy. The blood of the sacrificed, whether literal or symbolic, a potent symbol of power and submission, transformed raw power into legitimate authority, imbuing rulers with a sense of divine right and unchallengeable status. Today, the rituals are boardroom deals, conducted behind closed doors, not temple rites, but equally impactful in shaping our world. The high priests wear suits, not robes. They are the CEOs and executives of multinational corporations. The sacrifices are hidden in complex financial reports, obscured by jargon and accounting tricks, not on stone altars, but in the fine print of contracts and the footnotes of balance sheets. The blood coin is now a financial instrument, a derivative, a stock option, a bond, profits from war, fueled by conflict and human suffering, resource extraction, plundering the earth for its riches, often at the expense of local communities and the environment, and systemic sacrifice, the exploitation of labor, and the perpetuation of inequality. The core principle endures, the pursuit of wealth and power, often at any cost. Immense wealth is still inextricably linked to violent extraction and hidden suffering, to the unseen consequences of our economic system. The story of the blood coin, a narrative that spans millennia, is not just ancient history. It's not a relic of the past confined to textbooks and museums. It's the very architecture of our modern world, the foundation upon which our societies are built. To understand today's power dynamics, the forces that shape our lives, we must trace its roots, delve into the past, in these ancient brutal exchanges, in the origins of wealth and power. The public record holds the evidence, the clues to unraveling this complex history, waiting to be uncovered, waiting for us to connect the dots and understand the true cost of the blood coin. Rome perfected the blood coin system, scaling exploitation and cloaking it in philosophy. The Romans justified conquest and brutality with the language of duty, order, and the Pax Romana, peace imposed by force. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius wrote of virtue, yet rationalized violence as necessary for the greater good. Rome's elite amassed fortunes from conquest, slavery, and extraction, all sanitized by noble rhetoric. This model, justifying violence for civilization, became the template for future empires. The language changes, but the function remains, to make exploitation seem virtuous. Throughout history, power has often been concentrated in the hands of a select few. Today, the landscape of power has evolved, but the underlying principle remains. Today's priest kings are dynastic families and colossal asset managers, giants like BlackRock and Vanguard. These firms control trillions of dollars in assets, a staggering amount of wealth that gives them immense influence. They wield this power, shaping global policy and directly or indirectly profiting from war, fossil fuels, and reconstruction efforts around the world. Their power is hidden in plain sight, accessible in public filings, not locked away in secret vaults, through ownership of weapons manufacturers, oil giants, and so much more. The cycle is self-sustaining. They profit from destruction, then profit again from rebuilding. The rituals of old are replaced. Shareholder meetings are the new gatherings of the powerful. The divine mandate is replaced by fiduciary duty, a responsibility to maximize profits. But what are the true costs? Environmental devastation, social upheaval, are externalized onto the powerless, those who bear the brunt of these decisions. The blood coin, the price of suffering, is now minted in spreadsheets, traded far from the suffering it causes, abstracted into algorithms and financial instruments. The architecture of control is more pervasive and less accountable than ever before, operating with a level of opacity that shields it from scrutiny. Power is often inherited, not just earned through individual merit or hard work. It's a legacy passed down through generations. Dynastic heirs frequently present themselves as self-made success stories, crafting a narrative of personal triumph, but their privilege is undeniably built on old foundations of inherited wealth and established connections. Women like Elizabeth Murdoch and Ivanka Trump often serve as public faces for their family's interests, carefully softening the image of what can be ruthless family empires and their business practices. Their carefully curated platforms legitimize and expand their family's influence and reach, often at the direct expense of the vulnerable and marginalized communities. Their highly publicized charitable work and carefully crafted public personas conveniently distract from the underlying machinery of exploitation that fuels their wealth. Inheritors are strategically deployed as agents of public relations, humanizing and sanitizing the often unpleasant realities of dynastic power and its consequences. Their privilege, therefore, becomes a powerful weapon, effectively maintaining a status quo that overwhelmingly benefits the privileged few at the top. The insidious cycle of exploitation relentlessly continues, carefully masked by the calculated performance of virtue and philanthropy. The blood coin system has always faced resistance from courageous truth-tellers. Figures like Berta Cáceres, Malala Yousafzai, and Rachel Corrie risked and lost their lives exposing injustice. Their stories are a parallel ledger of courage and sacrifice, reminding us that solidarity can challenge systemic greed. Organizations like Global Witness and platforms like WikiLeaks document the hidden costs of elite power. The evidence is public SEC filings, investigative reports, leaked documents. Our task is to honor these resistors by exposing the truth and demanding accountability. The architecture of power persists, but it is no longer invisible, if we choose to see it.